Today I'll be showing you how to create a server info command. The result will look something like this, and I'm using the structure that the DynoBot uses, so credit where credit is due. If you don't already have a bot project set up, I'll have the starter files GitHub link for you down below. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to create a file inside my /commands folder, and I'm going to call it serverinfo.js. Now, if you already have your own command handler, feel free to follow its command structure. But since I'm using DJS Commander, I have to export an object from this file. This object will have the data property, and it will also have the run function. Let's start with the data property because that's our command structure. Honestly, this is going to be pretty simple, no options or anything like that. We just need the name, which is going to be server info, and the description, which in my case, I'm going to set this to get information on this server. So that's our command structure ready. Inside our run function, let's just go ahead and reply to this /command by saying interaction.reply. And for now, I'm just going to go ahead and reply with server info just to test if everything works. So I'm going to save this file and I'm going to open up my terminal and start this application using node index.js. So once the bot does start up, you're going to notice it says registered command server info. So let's head over to Discord. In Discord, I'm going to try to run the server info command, and it does reply with server info. So everything is working just fine. Now let's get into the actual logic for this command. So the first thing that we want to do is, of course, we want to check if this command is being executed inside a server. If it's not, of course, we can't show any information. So we're just going to reply to the user. So I'm going to say if not interaction in guild. So in this case, we're going to reply to this interaction and we're going to pass in the content, which is going to be you can only run this command inside a server. And I'm also going to pass in the ephemeral property and I'm going to set this to true. So only the person who ran the command can see this message. Also make sure to return right after so that the function stops right here. Now, since we need a lot of information on the server, let's just go ahead and destructure the guild, which is going to be from the interaction object. Okay, so now we're going to start to create the embed, which we want to send in the channel. So let's just go ahead and import the embed builder from Discord.js. Now define a variable inside your code called server info embed, and we're going to set this to a new instance of the embed builder class. Now, I don't like chaining methods like set description and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to directly pass in an object. Over here, we're going to first add the author, which is going to have the name. The name is going to be the name of the server. So we're going to say guild.name. And we also need an icon URL, which will be the URL of our server's icon. So what we can do is we can set this to icon URL, and this will be guild.icon URL. And inside, we're going to pass in the size of this URL, which in our case, we're just going to set this to 256 pixels. Now, of course, we're also going to have a bunch of fields. So let's go ahead and set them here. This is, of course, going to be an array of objects. And the first field is going to be the name of the server owner. The value for this is going to be await guild.fetch owner. And because we're using await, this function must be asynchronous. Now, once we do fetch the owner, let's just go ahead and use their tag. So user.tag. If you're watching this video later down the line, tags might not work. So you might have to change this to something like username. But for now, I'm just going to set this to tag. This is also going to be inline. So I'm going to set inline to true. And now let's move on to the next field, which is going to be the number of text channels. So I'm going to call this text channels. The value for this is going to be guild.channels.cache.filter. And because channels can include all categories and also voice channels, we want to filter out just the text channels. So this is going to be C, which is going to be the channel. And we want to filter out any channels which have the type of 0. 0 is basically the text channel type. So any channel that does not match this type will be removed from here. Now we also want to convert this to JSON, so to JSON. And then because it's an array, we can go ahead and get the length of this by saying .length. Finally, I'm also going to set inline to true. Now, the next field is pretty much the same, so I'm just going to duplicate this, but instead of text channels, this is going to be voice channels. And for voice channels, the type is not 0, it is 2. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and this is going to be category channels. And for category, the type is 4. Awesome. So now let's go ahead and get our members. So we're going to add a new field. This is going to have the name of members. The value for this is going to be guild.member count. Inline is also going to be true for this. Next, we need the number of roles. So we're going to set this to roles. And the value for this is going to be guild.roles.cache.size. Now this will also include the @everyone role. So if you don't want that, you can go ahead and subtract 1 from this. I'm just going to leave this the way it is, and I'm going to set inline to true. Finally, we need one more field, which is going to be the list of all the roles. So I'm going to say name and set this to role list. The value for this is going to be guild.roles.cache.toJSON. And then we're going to join all these arrays by saying .join, and we're going to join them using commas. This is not going to be inline because each server can have a ton of roles, and we want this to have its own field. Now, I want this embed to also have a footer, and this footer will have the text property. And for our text, we're going to be passing in the server ID, which is of course going to be guild.id. I also want to add when the server was created, so I can just go ahead and add it right here, server created. And this is going to be guild.createdAt, and this is going to be a date, so we can convert it to a date string. Awesome, so that's our embed ready. We can go ahead and reply to this interaction using interaction.reply, and we're going to pass in the embeds, which in our case is server info embed. I can go ahead and save this file, and I'll restart my bot. Back in Discord, I'm going to try to run the command once again, and this time it gives us pretty much all the fields. It has owner, which is of course me. It has the name of the server with its avatar. It also has the list of all the roles. So that's pretty much it. If you need help with anything, then be sure to join my Discord and someone will help you from there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.